Alright, SlimmBob here, time for another review. This time a film. And this film, I actually heard about it. I don't know if you know, if you're familiar with that guy with the glasses.com. Well, one of the people on that website, they basically do like reviews. And they're like a load of critics. They're not really critics, they're just entertainers. But one of the blokes, Brad Jones, the cinema snob, he's fucking by far the best bloke on that site. Seriously, it's fucking the stuff he tackles, the amount of variation in his work. Seriously, he's fucking brilliant filmmaker. But yeah, I was watching one of his videos. I can't remember which film, like what review, but this film got recommended in comments, and someone described it as the film Silent Hill should have been. And it's called The Abandoned. And as far as I'm aware, this was straight to DVD release. Last straight to DVD stuff I've seen, horror films. Fucking Human Centipede. Fucking See No Evil with Kane in it, you know, things like that. What's that one? Dead Silence. Do you remember that one? One Creators of Saw with stupid puppets. You know, things like that. You expect... There are the odd exceptions, like 1408, that were really good. But yeah, is this film any good? That's the point. Yeah, it is. It actually is. I weren't expecting it to be. I saw it like, because I looked at them comments, I'm like, oh, it's what Silent Hill should have been. I'm like, well, if it's cheap, I'll buy it. Looked on Amazon, £3. You're gonna buy a DVD for £3 on Amazon. So yeah, I bought it £3. Right, brilliant value. That, seriously, this film is a damn good film. Well, it's not great, but it does have problems, but for what I paid for, it's damn good value. And yeah, this is a bigger glass than normal. And the reason is, I kind of broke me other brandy glass. So, yeah, so as soon as I broke it, I'm like, shit, I need a new one. So, £8 on Amazon. I didn't think it'd be this big either, but yeah, turned out it's a double glass, this one. Less journeys, that's the important thing. But yeah, this film, yeah, what's it about? It's basically about this woman. She goes to Russia because she didn't know who her parents were like all her life, and she learns that her mother was this Russian woman, and she inherits this house, and she goes to this creepy house. You've heard this shit before. She goes to a creepy house, and stuff happens. I don't want to say what else, because it is a very story-driven film. It's one of the few horror films. There's a lot of horror films these days where they just rely on jump scares, and they have a very predictable formula. You know, like, that one of my main problems, you know, like the new Nightmare on Elm Street that came out. Like, all that were fucking jump scare after fucking jump scare. There were just no real build-up. I didn't care about the characters either, that were a big thing. A lot of horror films suffer from that. Even the Saws, you know, even though I like the story in the background with the Saws. You know, the fact that find out who Jigsaw is and how it's all going out. Do you know all this stuff like with the traps where you get like 5 people in a house and trying to escape? I don't give a shit about all that. It's all the other stuff. Every scene in this, every jump scare, every bit of horror is fucking relevant. And that's what's missing from a lot of horror films. I think that's why The Shining's so good. Because every single scene that you see, everything leads up. Everything is relevant. And that's when horror films succeed. Even, I can't believe I'm saying this, fucking Cannibal Holocaust. If you take away animal deaths from that film, even if, you could argue, even if you put the animal deaths in, every scene's relevant. Because it builds up to that climax from them all getting killed and stuff, and it you know, stuff like that. Great horror films, they have that correct build-up. That's why horror in itself is probably the best genre. When done right, horror is the best genre. Well, it starts off the film, it's like a flashback of the past, where this woman's in a truck, and she dies while in the truck, and there's these 2 babies beside her, these twins, right? So what happens, it cuts to 40 years later, or 45 years later, and this woman the American woman's gone to Russia and she's learned that, like, you know who her mother is, and at that point, you see, that is a real clever thing that they did at the beginning of the film, because at that point, even though she doesn't know that she's a twin, you have that in the back of your mind throughout for this film, that this woman's a twin, and that plays on your mind all the way through, and it's really clever how it's done that. So, that's my thing. This film, I can understand why people are saying it's Silent Hill. One, because it does a similar thing where you can't escape, if you know what I mean. Where it's all about trying to escape, but they can't, if you know what I mean. And that, I think that feeling, it's that sense of tension that it takes from Silent Hill. The scares aren't as clever as the games. Why am I fucking comparing it to Silent Hill just because one fucking person commented? Oh, I'm silly, I know. But yeah, you can compare it to Silent Hill, thinking about it. The scares aren't as clever. That's the thing. As a horror film, I don't think it's as strong as some others. As a story, I think it's a damn good story. I really got into it. That's the thing. Proper horror, you are compelled to see what the hell's going to happen next. And this does a great job of doing that. It reveals stuff at a very well-made pace, if that makes sense. Because there's always revelations all the way through. Like, you know, what happened to her mother and things like that, and who her twin actually is, and things like that. And it reveals it at a great pace, and it has these set pieces that aren't that strong, but they reveal these parts of the story well. That's the thing. It's one of them films you think it's going to be a... I mean, look at the cover. You see this woman with white eyes. I mean, I've had this for fucking ages, this film. I've had to move it from top of my pile of DVDs because that face just, it creeps me out a lot. So, you know what I mean? This cover to me, it looks a lot more conventional, you know, compared to today's market with horror films, which focuses on jump scares. To me, that makes it look like one of them films, when it really isn't. It's kind of predictable, yeah, but it's interesting. The characters are interesting. And another thing, it does what Insidious did. Well, it doesn't do it quite the same, but Insidious were one of them films where at not one point in the film that I think I wouldn't do what the characters are doing. Because there's a lot of horror films which you watch it and you just think, fuck, why the fuck did he do that? Like Human Centipede, where she goes back and fetches her mate. I know I mentioned that before, but fucking hell. But yeah, this film kind of gets away with it because it creates the idea that they're in a dream. I don't think I'm giving all away with that. It's just, Silent Hill's kind of like that. It doesn't feel real. This is the kind of the same, where everything represents something, and that's what makes it interesting. But yeah, this film, I'll give it 3 fingers out of 5. Compared to a lot of horror films these days, I didn't feel as though it were forcing anything on me. A lot of horror films force scares on you. They're very cheap. This didn't feel cheap at all. It felt really well directed. It was... The characters were kind of interesting. The only thing which were kind of silly was the fact that, like at the beginning of the film, the main woman, she has a conversation with her daughter on the phone. You don't hear from her at all for the rest of the film. You get one reference to her, and I don't know why they introduced... Well, I do know why they introduced the character, but we should have seen her. I think we should have seen the daughter. That way, I think the ending would have been stronger. And yeah, but yeah, I'll go and see it. Well, don't go and see it, buy it. If you see it, the same £3 on Amazon. I think even if you see it for like £7, I'd say this is a decent horror film. It's a lot better. It's better than a lot of stuff you get in pictures. Seriously. So yeah, I'd give it a chance. Give it a chance. Let me know what you think. I kind of enjoyed it. Yeah, kind of creepy. There are a few issues with it, like the fact that at some random point it turns out that at midnight we're going to die, and that's never really explained. Well, it's kind of explained, but it's explained in like one sentence, and it didn't really make much sense. Stuff like that. But compared to a lot of horror films, this makes a lot more sense. I don't know. Anyway, give it a chance. If you like me, you'll enjoy it. And yeah, this is SlimmBob. Thanks for watching. So what price tag on this? And the bag fell out. Very good. Goodbye.